Well, our dad says that we're different because
I'm left-handed.
I have curly hair.
Right-handed.
What about you have Down syndrome?
I have Down syndrome too.
Yeah, you also have Down syndrome.
I met Sarah in 3rd grade when she came to St. Ignatius, but we were not in the same class, so we didn't really become friends until 4th grade when we were in the same class.
Jack has blue eyes and blonde hair, and he's really good at ballet, and he happens to have Down syndrome.
I asked my mom why I was so short, and she told me about Down syndrome.
He said that he thought it meant that that's why Jack was down to the ground, closer to the ground. I told him that Jack might learn things a little bit differently and that he might do things a little bit differently, but that other than that, he was just another kid.
This is a story about students who have Down syndrome. Do you know what Down syndrome is?
We all have chromosomes. People with Down syndrome just have an extra one. It's not contagious. It's something that you have before you're born. Sometimes causes people to have speech delays, and sometimes they have a hard time stringing words together. People with Down syndrome oftentimes have learning disabilities. In our family, we say that having Down syndrome means that you can do anything that anybody else can do. You just might do it a little bit more slowly.
Kids with Down syndrome typically have low muscle tone. Some people have described it as being like gravity is weighing down harder on them than someone else.
Many of us don't know about Down syndrome, but that doesn't mean we can't learn.
Jack learns best when he has really great models, when he has a lot of children around that are doing the same thing and that are doing it really well. He really wants to be like his friends.
I do try to treat Jack just as I would all the other students in my classroom. He gets second chances, but probably not more than that, just like any of the other kids. He volunteers just like the rest of my students, and he loves to share.
All of this diversity makes us special. It makes us who we are. They learn from each other's strengths and from each other's weaknesses, and we want it to be as real world as we can, and the real world isn't typical, everybody's the same.
It takes a lot of patience, a lot of true enthusiasm to have the privilege to be able to educate a child like Colton with Down syndrome.
Many of us have never known people with disabilities, so we may not know how to be friends with them. Maybe we think Down syndrome will rub off on us. It won't. Maybe we just don't know how to talk to someone with Down syndrome.
Sometimes people don't know what he's saying, and then he gets mad. They can take their time and try and figure out what he's saying.
People with Down syndrome sometimes take a long time to process. And something that teachers can do and friends can do is to resist the urge to answer for the person with Down syndrome and rather to wait for them to process the question, to be able to formulate their answer, and then to get the answer out of their mouth.
It's just easy to be friends with Sarah. She's such a sweetheart, and you can never have a bad day when you're around Sarah. She said that she cherished our friendship. And I just almost started crying because nobody says stuff like that anymore. And you know with Sarah that she means it.
Their happiness can drive through other people and make other people happy.
He'll be your best friend, and there'll never be a bad day in your life, because he's always happy. Everything's a celebration.
Even teachers and principals may have to work hard to figure out the best way to teach each student, including kids with Down syndrome.
You want to be able to make sure you can see abilities where other people may not, and you have to be creative and think on your feet and just really embrace each student as an individual. Because what works for one student will not work for the other, and what works one day may not work the next day, but that's the beauty of it.
For instance, a student with Down syndrome might need extra support in terms of speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy.
Kids who get physical therapy at school may get some services in the classroom. Other times when we do take children out of the classroom because we need to see them on the stairs, or we need to see how they get between classes, we need to see how they work on the playground, make sure that they're safe at all times at school, and that they are able to access and enjoy all the parts of their school day.
The truth is, we are more alike than different.
You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and I think sometimes people let themselves fall into stereotypes, or they let themselves fall into barriers and not looking at what the child knows. And so I think if you start with, they will teach you something, they always will.
Having Jack in class
has really helped the students because they get to see that there's not really a normal. People are different in so many ways. Jack, you can look at him and see that he is a little different. However, he has the same interests that the kids do. He has the same concerns that the kids do. They enjoy their life. They want to be loved. They want to be included. They want to participate. They have disappointments. They recognize when they're being excluded. They want the same things that we all want.
She's always just surprising everybody with what she can do and what she's capable of.
We all understand that those kids are just like us. They just have some slight, differences that need to be helped with.
He doesn't run that fast, but he's a very good kid. I really like him.
It may take a child with Down syndrome more time to learn something new, and we may need a little more patience to help them get there.
When you have a brother like Jack, you have to be very patient. Yeah, very patient.
A lot of other handicaps require a lot of extra stuff, a lot of extra care and attention. Colton requires just one thing, and that's more patience.
Sarah's kind of shy if she doesn't know you. Once she gets to know you, then it's smooth sailing. You just have to be open and inclusive, and I don't know, just treat them like you would anybody else.
What do you do with something you can't understand? Well, you just try. He'll tell you what he wants, he'll tell you what he needs, but he just needs someone to listen and maybe a little extra time.
James and Jack chose this friendship themselves. It wasn't arranged or pre-planned. It was two boys in kindergarten together that hit it off and became friends and have stayed friends, and it's really a very ordinary thing.
You have to care for them and look out for them.
Like us, children with Down syndrome like to swing on a swing, dance, play, laugh, have fun. Like the rest of us, students with Down syndrome enjoy having friends, so it's important for all of us to find ways to include them.
I think it's important for everyone to understand that inclusion should be second nature and should be everywhere because it's what they're going to experience in the real world.
Here's how you can be a friend to a boy or a girl who has Down syndrome. You can laugh with them. You can invite them to your birthday party. You can hug them back.
She gives the best hugs.
And the more we can include and understand people that are maybe a little different from us in certain ways, I think the more beautiful life can be.
Many people discover that when you have a friend with Down syndrome, you have a friend for life.
Jack's my best friend.
I am so lucky that I found a true friend. I couldn't even imagine my life without you.
I think it's funny she says she's lucky. She doesn't even know how lucky she makes me.